Hi, and welcome to Martial Arts Mania. I'm your host, Debbie Goodman. I have a very special show for you this time. My Sifu, John Cho, whom I've trained with for years, is my special guest. Welcome, Sifu.
Hi, Debbie.
Thank you so much for coming to the show.
You're welcome.
We're going to talk a lot about Chinese New Year today because Chinese New Year is coming up, the Year of the Snake. I remember many weekends we spent going around town doing the lion dance to bring prosperity to businesses. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, during the Chinese New Year, it varies between January and February because it's based on the lunar calendar. And we've been doing this probably like for over 20-some years because we started at the Confucius School when we were at the Confucius School in West Fresno. The idea is like we go out to different Chinese businesses in the community and sort of like bring the lion along to wish people prosperity, good business type of thing. It's sort of like the start of the year, so you're hoping for good things in the new year coming up.
Okay, and this is a lion, not a dragon. Most people call it a dragon.
That's correct. Most people refer to it as a dragon. But the part on the lion is basically based on the Chinese character. Actually, it's not necessarily mean to represent like a lion from the African or the savannas of Africa. It's sort of more like a mythical creature. So it has different aspects. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but it has kind of like a horn. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily an animal, a live animal.
Okay, well, I'm partial to the lion because I am a Leo.
Okay.
And tell us a little bit about the instruments involved and some of the other things like the firecrackers.
Okay. Well, going back to the lion, since you mentioned the lion and the dragon, basically we have two people playing. One person plays the head, one plays the tail. If you're talking about the dragon that you see sometimes in parades, it might be a 7-person or 9-person dragon. So that's part of it. Part of the thing with the firecrackers during the New Year's, it goes back to kind of like legends, and I'm not really sure how true the legends are, so forth. Nin represents like year in Chinese. And supposedly there was a monster that came to eat people, and then they were able to scare off the Nin with making a lot of noise and firecrackers and so forth. The firecrackers are well, basically red, and the only time people set it off is like during the New Year's.
So the Lunar New Year starts when the moon is in Aquarius and the sun is in Aquarius, and it usually finishes when the full moon is in Leo. Or this year, I believe it finishes, because it starts a little later this year, it finishes in Virgo.
I think you know a lot more about astrology than I do, so I'll take your word for it.
I'm partial to Chinese New Year more so than our New Year, January 1st, I think, because of my background in astrology. But I've always found it fascinating, and I'm usually more ready for New Year by late January or February. So your Kung Fu school is located at Fresno and Clinton.
Right.
And you have been there for over 20 years now.
We started in, I think it was May 1st of 1990.
I remember. I actually joined your school when it was still just a club over at the old Chinese Consolidated Benevolent Association. Did I get that
Chinese
right?
Consolidated Benevolent Association.
Over at Tulare and Waterman many years ago. I won't say how long ago, but
It's a long time ago.
And I helped paint. Part of the school is now located at Fresno and Clinton. I'm very happy that it's still open in hard economic times. I think it's great. And tell me about some of the classes that you offer.
Okay. Well, the foundation for our school is Long Fist Kung Fu. So we offer like a kids class on Tuesday and Thursday from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We have adult classes a little bit later, for more advanced students, 6 to 7, and beginners 7 to 8. And then we also have a kickboxing program at 8 o'clock in the evening.
Okay. Now, is that every night of the week, or is your kickboxing on Monday, Wednesday?
My brother comes in on Monday and Wednesday to help with the kickboxing class. And then he also teaches a few students karate. He has a black belt in karate on Monday and Wednesday.
Okay. Yes, maybe I could get Will on the show someday. Talk about his.
Well, yeah,
background.
you'd have to ask him. But yeah, we've been there for quite a few years.
That's true. I still remember our grand opening. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, I've been kind of in and out through the years. You know, life takes us different directions, and I feel like I'm coming around full circle.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one way of looking at it, Debbie, is like I don't necessarily expect every student that joins to be there like forever. My hope is that the school is beneficial to them when they're there. It might help at a certain point in life, or help them in terms of their outlook, or even in terms of physical conditioning.
This
so
is
forth.
very true. Some things have happened in my life recently that have helped to bring me back around to my Kung Fu spirit. One of them being never stop fighting. I've been dealing with one of the big banks for a few years now, and I kept telling myself, don't stop fighting. Don't stop fighting. You know they're wrong. You're right. Don't stop fighting.
Yeah.
So
I'd say for most people, what they might develop from training in martial arts school, might be more in terms of attitude or characteristic than actual like physical type of situation.
Right.
I think if people develop certain characteristics, I think it would be very beneficial for them. Things like being persistent,
Yes.
being patient, knowing that you're not going to succeed the first time out every time.
Right.
And just as long as people learn to try. Same thing like when in our kids class, we almost like continually tell the kids, try to do your best. If you do your best, you have nothing to regret about.
I guess what I mean by don't stop fighting is never give up.
Good enough.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about the philosophy of your school or your style?
Okay. Well, I think with particularly in the Chinese martial arts, depending if you want to use Cantonese, it'd be like Modak or Mandarin Wuda. There's a certain morality associated with Kung Fu. The idea that any person should not abuse power. If you develop power, there's a certain morality that accompanies the power.
I think that's a great philosophy.
And so in terms of that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be just kind of like physical. It could be in other aspects too. We always try to tell people one of the most important things is to develop respect. Respect for themselves, respect for other people, that we all want to treat other people as how we want to be treated. I think if people follow this, it's not limited to Kung Fu, but this golden rule, our society would be better.
I agree, 100%. Yeah, I have really missed it. It's really interesting. I took some Tai Chi classes at another school here in Fresno. And it had been a very long time since I had performed the Tai Chi set. And the instructor turned to me and he says, you've done this before. And I said, oh yes, but it's been a very long time ago. And he says, no, looks like you practiced last night. I was very flattered, and I thought, you know, coming back after all these years, I'm sure there's some moves that I won't be able to do again right away. But I'm really happy to be back with it. And it also helped inspire the idea for this show. In fact, we go back 20 years to San Francisco when Grandmaster Tap Ma Wong invited us to be on his show, Kung Fu Theater.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I don't think my memory is as good as your memory, but I remember we went up there. I think there's like 4 of us together, you, Robert, and then Mark. Well, that was a good time. That's one of my favorite. Every white person has their chopstick story of
not being able to use chopsticks correctly. I don't know if you remember what happened that night when Tap Ma Wong took us out to dinner, and my chopstick not only broke, it flew back over my shoulder and clattered on the floor. So instead of bringing me a fork, they brought me another set of chopsticks.
Oh, okay.
So I guess I was the comedy routine for the evening, but that was a great time. It's one of my best memories.
Great. Great.
One of my other good kung fu memories is the Fresno Bee came out many years ago to the school, took pictures of me and interviewed me, and one of my dreams came true. One of the questions they asked was, you know, who would you like to work out with in martial arts? And I said, James Liu. You know, he's been in the movie television business for 40 years now, still quite active, and I got to meet him last summer. So I recently joined the History of Martial Arts Museum in Burbank, and they oftentimes have these workshops, and I believe he may be teaching one, so I'll go down, train a little bit.
Yeah, because since you mentioned that with the article or interview with the Fresno Bee, actually we cut out that article with a picture of you, and we put it on the one wall we have with the other pictures we have. So
I'm going to have to look for the one that we took in the studio up in San Francisco on Tap Ma Wong's show. I know that I have a copy of that somewhere.
yeah, I think we have that picture, but I don't think I put that picture on the wall. I can't recall seeing it. I was just being interviewed and talking away as I am today to you.
It was a great time. Well, let's see some demonstrations of some of the weapon forms and sets, and maybe a fight.
Okay.
All right. Wow, that was great. I really like that fight between the two guys. Almost looked like an Old West showdown.
Oh, well, as you know, Debbie, they weren't really fighting, but actually that's kind of ties in with sort of like self-defense or applications type of thing. One was, I guess, Spencer played the bully, and he's pushing Henry and so forth, and grabbing him, and then he punches him. Basically, uses his leg to sweep Spencer's leg out, and the final move is kind of like based on China. China's trying to control the opponent, and it's supposed to be like an armbar type of thing.
The double hook swords, very impressive.
Yes, I feel Johnny does the double hooks very well. He has a nice speed. The idea behind the double hook swords is you're able to use it as relatively medium range weapon, but when you hook it together and swing it, its range is doubled. Since you've practiced broadsword before, actually we employ the flower movement in that one sequence where Johnny's doing kind of like a figure 8 in front and one figure 8 on the back. The one back is identical to the broadsword flower that you learned before.
I'm going to have to come back and learn those double hook swords. And I never did the two-man set with weapons.
Oh, the spear and broadsword, actually spear and broadsword is one of my favorite two-man weapons. I learned this when I was in Taiwan, practicing at the Taipei New Park of Sen Ma Wei. I learned it, it's probably back in the 1970s.
Wow.
I like the spear broadsword because it teaches the students on both sides different things. The broadsword being a shorter weapon teaches the person wielding the broadsword that he has to be able to facilitate or move on the inside, whereas the person with the spear is basically want to maintain on the outside. Those weapons are pretty classical or traditional Chinese weapons. Broadsword uses a lot of slash motions, and the spear stabbing movements. And I think the other thing I really like about it, it gives the students a chance to develop a flow. They have to match it with their opponent. You have to flow along with the opponent.
This was one of my weapons back in the day, was the fan. And that was a different style than long fist, wasn't it? Was it a 20-foot set?
Yeah, it might have been. I can't remember. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I put together a set based on the fan off our fourth set. The fourth set you've learned, basically using the movements. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Can we talk just a little bit more about some of the symbolism? For example, the dragon. What does the dragon mean in is it Chinese legend or?
Well, I think for the dragon, in contrast to the dragon in medieval Europe or Middle Ages, I think the dragon is seen as kind of like a evil animal, whereas for the Chinese it could be like more like royal or auspicious, meaning good things. The example would be like since you're involved with astrology and so forth, they do have the 12 animals associated with the Chinese zodiac, and to have I guess a child born in the year of the dragon is a good year.
You were born in the year of the dragon.
Yes.
We won't say which year that was, but you were born in the year of the dragon. Yeah. Most of the dragon people I know tend to lead charmed lives, I think.
Okay.
My opinion. I was born in the year of the rooster.
Okay.
So I'd like to see the lion dance.
Okay.
All right. That was great. Thanks, Sifu. Thank you for joining me.
You're very welcome, Debbie.
Where can, if the public wanted to see the lion dance, now is there a Chinese New Year parade in
Yes,
Old
there
Chinatown?
is.
Oh, great.
The Chinatown parade is, I've talked to one of the members, board members. He said they have decided to select or pick the first Saturday of every year for a Chinatown parade. So it will be on the first Saturday in March.
Oh, okay.
And I think they usually start right around 12 noon.
Okay.
And it'll be in Fresno, Chinatown area. And
Okay.
we
What
participated.
are some of the cross streets?
Well, probably if you're near Fresno, Tulare,
Okay.
F, G.
Okay.
E.
And then your lion dance team goes around town to Chinese-owned businesses.
Right.
You probably have a very long list.
We have enough.
Friend of mine owns the Shanghai. I believe you go to the Shanghai.
Yes, we go to Shanghai.
Great. Would you happen to know when you might be there?
Uh,
Is it Saturday night? One of the.
if I'm going on my memory, it probably will be the first Saturday after New Year's.
Okay.
February 10th is a Sunday, so probably on that Saturday.
Okay, the next Saturday, 16th, I'm thinking. Okay, that would be great. Maybe I can get some friends to go out to dinner there that night.
I'm sure your friend who owns the restaurant will be very happy for that.
I think he would be. Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you very much for being on the show.
You're very welcome, Debbie.
And you'll see me back at the school very soon. And if you need some help during Chinese New Year, well, you know where to reach me.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed the show.